Hello everyone, my name is Uma Sankar Suman and my topic is reproduction. Chapter name How Do Organism Reproduce? Class 10th, Chapter 8. When we talk about reproduction, the very first question arises in our mind is what is reproduction? And the next question is so on, why do organisms reproduce? Why should an individual organism waste energy on a process it does not need to stay alive? Do you know that there are so many infertile couples? They do not reproduce but still alive. Then the question is arise in our mind. So let us discuss all the questions answered in my next slide. What is reproduction? The definition of reproduction is the production of new organism from the existing organism of the same species is known as reproduction. Why reproduce or what is the significance? The process of reproduction ensures continuity of life on earth. Second point, reproduction is essential for the survival of a species on this earth. Suppose that if any species do not reproduce and they die, what happens next? They extinct from the earth and we can't see the same species on earth. As you like yourself, as you here in earth, because due to reproduction. Reproduction is vital for new species. As you know that we notice organisms because they reproduce. If they can't, we can't see. Reproducing organisms create new individuals that look very much like themselves. As you see, you are looking similar as both of your parents, but not very much. This is due to inheritance. Now let us discuss in next topic. Chromosome in the nucleus of a cell contain information for inheritance of a features from parents to next generation in the form of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid molecules. The DNA in the cell nucleus is the information source for making proteins. In the information changed, if the information changed, different proteins will be made. As you look, you have 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, 2 hands and 2 legs. But this is due to only inheritance or the DNA information containing. But what happened if something changed in DNA? If the information changed, different proteins will be made. Different proteins will eventually leads to altered body designs. Basic event in reproduction is the creation of a DNA copy. DNA copying is accompanied by the creation of an additional cellular apparatus. The process of copying the DNA will have some variations each time. It is similar but not be identical to the original. As you look yourself, as you look yourself, you are similar to your parents but not identical as like your parents. The inbuilt tendency for variation during reproduction is the basis for evolution. Now, let us discuss the type of reproduction. There are 2 main methods of reproduction in living organisms. First, asexual reproduction. Second, sexual reproduction. Now, what is the asexual reproduction? The production of a new organism from a single parent without the involvement of sex cells or gametes is called asexual reproduction. Second, sexual reproduction. The production of new organism from 2 parents by making use of their sex cells or gametes is called sexual reproduction. Now, let us discuss between differences asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. First, you already studied that only one parent is needed to produce a new organism. In sexual reproduction, two parents are needed to produce a new offspring or organism. Second point, no sex cells or gametes are involved. In sexual reproduction, sex cells or gametes take part in sexual reproduction. As you know, there are two gametes are there as male gamete plus female gamete is formed zygote. In asexual reproduction, no fusion of gametes and thus zygote is not formed. In sexual reproduction, fusion of gamete results in the formation of zygote. Let us discuss the asexual reproduction type. First type is fission. In the process of fission, a unicellular organism splits or divides to form two new organisms. The examples are binary fission and multiple fission. Binary fission is done in amoeba and leishmania. You see in the picture as amoeba, the parent cell divided into two daughter cells and form a new offspring as binary fission. In multiple fission, plasmodium is an example. Here, yellow and green color denotes the multiple fission and there are multiple plasmodiums are generated. Second is fragmentation, the breaking up of the body of a similar multicellular organism into two or more pieces on maturing, each of which subsequently grows to form a complete new organism is called fragmentation. Example is Pyrogyra. The next question arises in our mind, differences between fission and fragmentation. So, fission is done in unicellular organism and fragmentation is done in multicellular organism. Third is regeneration, the process of getting back a full organism from its body part is called regeneration. The examples are Hydra and Planaria. You see the diagram of Planaria as Planaria divided into three parts and each part generates a new Planaria as an offspring. Fourth is budding. In budding, a small part of the body of the parent organism grows out as a bud, which then detach and become a new organism, as you saw in Hydra. Spore formation is the fifth type of asexual reproduction. The parent's plant produce hundreds of microscopic reproductive units called spores. When the spores case of the plant burst, then the spores spread into air. When these airborne spores land on food or soil under favorable conditions like damp and warm conditions, they germinate and produce new plants. Example, Rhizopus. As you see, breed moths. It is also called breed moths. Next is vegetative propagation. In vegetative propagation, new plants are obtained from the parts of the old plants, like stem, root and leaves, without the help of any reproductive organs. There are mainly two types of vegetative propagation. First, natural vegetative propagation and second, the artificial vegetative propagation. The examples of natural vegetative propagation is birds on bryophyllum leaf. As you see, the birds are arises on margin of the leaves and then detach and to form a new bryophyllum. In artificial propagation, in artificial vegetative propagation, example, sugarcane, rose and jasmine. There are also three types of artificial vegetative propagation like cutting, layering and grafting. In cutting, it involves cutting a piece of the plant and rooting it to obtain a new plant. As you saw in the picture, in cutting. Next, layering. It involves covering the branch of a plant with soil and then cutting it. Next, grafting. Grafting occurs when two different plants stem are joined and they grow as a single plant. As you show that there are two types of different plant stem and the joint, as first is known as scion and second is a stalk, which is in the soil. Next, tissue culture. In tissue culture, we take a tip of a plant tissue and place in an artificial medium. Then it nitrate them, and if the tissue is make grower, then it is called callus. Then callus transform to medium containing hormones, and callus grows as plantlet. After plantlet placed in soil, the plant mature, and this is called tissue culture. Thanks for watching.